it's because a lot of the people at the top, the Donald Trumps and stuff, they don't pay taxes. They just don't. And so when people say, well, look, he didn't even make a profit that year. That shows he's a bad businessman. That shows me more so that you're a bad businessman because what you probably don't know is that a lot of wealthy people that run businesses, they don't want to have a profit, big profit. The reason they get rid of the big profit, they through depreciation or whatever they can, whatever tool they can use to get rid of the profit, is because they don't want taxes. They want to stay under the radar of the IRS. They don't want to be like, yeah, look at how big my profit is. And the IRS is like, okay, give me 40%, right? So a lot of wealthy people will literally buy assets and do things just so they don't make a profit. So they'll get that private jet that's super expensive because they're like, if I'm spending money on my jet, flying my family around, I get to write all that off, and so I get a discount on the fuel and the cost, and I don't, and also my tax bill's lower. So it doesn't mean that you should just invest in things just for the write off, but tax deference and avoidance is like a masterful art that everyone should understand or think about at some point. Lastly, they teach their kids that wealth is typically built quietly, that wealth is not loud. Really wealthy families are not loud and obnoxious and go around bragging about how much money they have. It's cringy to tell everybody how much money you have. It's very stressful when everyone knows how much money you have. When that one time in 2014 or something, when Tyler Perry called me, the day before he called me, he was on the cover of a magazine because he made more money than anybody in Hollywood. He made $100 million that year. And all the white people were freaking out because they're like, how did this black guy make all this money and we don't know who he is? And I said, how does that feel to be on the cover of a magazine like it's the highest paid person in Hollywood? He said, I hate it. He said, I hate it because nobody wants everybody to know how big their paycheck is. And he said, also, they don't understand how expensive it is for me to run my operation. He said, they don't know that I just wrote a check to Alan Payne for $2 million. They don't know how much it costs to run this studio, right? And so a lot of times people that have a paycheck mentality will see a big number, a big flashy number, and really think that's really how much money the person has. Or they'll see someone's a billionaire. They'll think they have $1 billion in their bank account. No, usually they don't have $1 billion in their bank account. Diddy was a billionaire at one point, and Diddy actually stated, he said, I do not have $1 billion. I do not even have close to that amount of money. When Kanye West was declared a billionaire, it was based on a multiple of his income level. They said, okay, you made over $100 million from Adidas this year, which, unfortunately, for whatever reason, he kind of threw that away. And they did a multiple and they said, okay, so you're a billionaire because you have $1 billion worth of assets, but he didn't have $1 billion worth of cash. He never did. Right. And so understand that difference between what you have in cash versus what you have in assets and what your net worth is versus what you actually are able to afford to do, and also looking at the fact that when you have this high income that you it could come with massive expenses. I think that's important, and that's one of the reasons why people that have lots of wealth typically are very quiet about it. They don't really, the only people that are usually loud are people that either got the money for the first time and they haven't learned that lesson yet. Nobody screwed them, nobody's robbed them, nobody's sued them or whatever, or they're lying or they're just pretending. They're just giving a show that fake it till you make it type stuff. So wealthy families are really quiet. They protect things. Warren Buffett had a granddaughter who violated a family rule. She talked to the media and she didn't even say anything bad.